More than 160 species of birds from 6 continents and all 50 states breed on the coastal plain of the Arctic Refuge. The coastal plain also has more polar bear dens than anywhere on Earth, and is home to Arctic fox, brown bear, golden eagle, muskox, snowy owl, Arctic squirrel, Arctic wolves, and much more.
There's polar bears that come in the wintertime to den. They need to have that quiet area there to den. And together with global warming, polar bears are getting hit very hard. And this is the last thing they need. It's going to disrupt the travel corridors for predators as well. It changes the vegetation. It disrupts the fragile environment, even in the wintertime. That area is to be untouched. In the springtime, in southern Alaska, they wonder where hundreds and hundreds of golden eagles disappeared to. Now they know. Hundreds and hundreds of golden eagles fly all the way up north to Alaska, to the calving grounds of the porcupine caribou herd, so that they can meet the calves there. And what they do is they fly down, they touch the soft-born calves, and then they feed.
The Gwich'in are not the only culture that depend upon the caribou. The Inupiat peoples of Kaktovik also feed on the caribou of the porcupine caribou herd, and the vast majority are against oil and gas development.
Kaktovik's not very big, but we have a petition now with 60 people on it, residents of Kaktovik, that are opposed to drilling in the 1002 area of the Arctic Refuge. 98 people voted in the last election, and we're going to get more. We haven't reached people in the military and some people that were away at the time we presented this petition, so it's growing. We've got the majority now. I would challenge the other side to come up with a petition with more than, as we have now, 60. They'd have to have 61 people that are in favor, and I don't think they can do it. And I don't think they even want to try. People have been saying for years that, well, even Lisa Murkowski very recently has said that the large majority of people in Kaktovik are in favor of this development, and they use it continuously. Okay, this refuge is 5% of what's available for oil development on the North Slope. If the American public were to know this, they would probably be very hesitant about endorsing the idea of using up the last 5% that can be saved by law. The petroleum reserve is 23.5 million acres. It's got a lot of oil in it, and it's got plenty of oil to keep the pipe at capacity for a long time. If they do not develop the refuge, the output of that pipe will probably remain the same, because oil companies aren't going to just let it dry up. They've got plenty of oil in the oil patch that they can access separate from this refuge. And a lot of people come here to enjoy the recreational aspect of this refuge. That is something that will be more and more important as years go by, to have areas to go to, get away from the stress of heavily populated areas. So to some people it's important just to know that it's there if they want to go. Probably not everybody's going to come up here and roam around the refuge, but it is important to people to know that they can do that if they want to. I look at it as this might be a refuge for the Inupiat in the future. Eventually, 95% of the North Slope is going to be looked at and reviewed and explored, and there will be oil wells and pipelines on 95% of the North Slope. So there will be a time when this will be the only area that we have that doesn't have oil exploitation on it. So I think that's important for future generations, to have some area that's been left as it has been for thousands of years.
From having backpacked scores of miles through the polluted oil fields, I witnessed firsthand the horrific, permanent destruction that the oil industry has wreaked across more than 1,000 square miles of north-central Alaska. And scientists say that the Central Arctic caribou herd has been displaced by this development. But in the Arctic Refuge, there is no room for the caribou to be displaced. Thus, taking the existing example at Prudhoe Bay, scientists predict that if development were to take place, it would be disastrous for the porcupine caribou herd. In the summer of 2005, I took a bus tour of Prudhoe Bay. Despite their claims of clean operations, oil spills are increasing on the North Slope of Alaska. Though there were 400 oil spills per year, on average in 2000, they went up to 550 oil spills per year in 2004. Oil companies have dredged enough gravel to fill 90,000 football fields to a height of 3 feet for all the roads and gravel pads around Prudhoe Bay, disrupting the flow of water. Existing oil development on the North Slope includes more than 4,800 exploratory wells, 223 production and exploratory drill pads, more than 500 miles of roads, 1,800 miles of pipes over 600 miles of pipeline corridors, 2 refineries, 20 airports, 107 gravel pads for living quarters and other support facilities, 5 docks and gravel causeways, 36 gravel mines, 28 production plants, gas processing facilities, seawater treatment plants, and power plants. Oil companies caused more than 4,532 spills between 1996 and 2004, totaling more than 1.9 million gallons of toxic substances. More than 40 different toxic wastes have been spilled across the drill fields. Air pollution around Prudhoe Bay exceeds that of Washington, D.C., and nitrogen dioxide levels are twice that of D.C. The oil industry emits 70,000 tons of nitrogen oxides, which cause acid rain and smog, 6,199 tons of particulate matter, 1,470 tons of sulfur dioxide, 11,560 tons of carbon monoxide, 2,647 metric tons of volatile organic compounds, 24,000 metric tons of methane, and 40 million metric tons of carbon dioxide annually. What would the benefit of drilling be? Economist Dr. Richard Feingold said that at most drilling would have a minimal effect on gas prices.
Even with their overstatement, their conclusion is that by 2025, the refuge could reduce the price at the gas pump by roughly 1.3 to 1.4 cents per gallon. And that, in fact, overstates. Lost in the noise. It's de minimis. No effect, basically.
Conservation, however, can have a massive effect on how much Americans pay at the pump, as well as the price and future supply of oil. It is also the solution to helping the United States reduce its greenhouse gas emissions and become a better world citizen in that way.
Vehicle efficiency would far outweigh the refuge within a very short number of years.
Increasing the corporate average fuel economy to 39 miles per gallon would save tens of times more oil than could ever come from the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, and those savings could be seen immediately, whereas it would take 10 years for oil from the refuge to reach market and 20 years for it to reach peak production, after which it would steadily decline, leaving a permanent destruction and toxic poisoning of the last 5% of the North Slope not yet open for oil development.
You can inflate your tires, you can heat homes better,